Hello and welcome to the Living Louder Project. My name is Spencer Bryn, and today we're going to talk about books. But first off, let's start with the idea of books. Interesting little things. They generally tend to take a lot of imagination and creativity to take you into a new narrative story. There are ways that we tell stories, there are ways that we learn lessons, even through all these fictional stories that we learn. And that's why I love them so much. I love books. I mean, I have multiple copies of different books just because I want to have one that I can carry around with me on my phone, or have a normal bound copy because that's what I care about. So let's start with that. Books. I have a lot of books. And we can start with a few of my favorite series to begin with, honestly, but that's where I want to go. Like, I enjoy reading a really good story. And of those stories, some of them really have leapt out to me. Sort of things like Harry Potter, which is a favorite of many. Let's see. The Percy Jackson series, the Cohn Chronicles, things that the Heroes of Olympus series. I like a lot of young adult fiction books, but that's just because they kind of at some point reached out to me in a way and just made their place there. I also really enjoy the I Am Number 4 series, even though I'm not caught up yet. And if I remember correctly, the Alex Rider series, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the movie The Kingsman, because it's very much scratching that Alex Rider itch that I've had for a little while. And I know a lot of these books contain ideas that just come around being different. Whether they be about magic, or about spies, or about smart kids doing something crazy. It's always interesting to see what kind of things can be created out of the minds of others. And that's what books let us do. They let us see into the world that somebody has created for themselves. And it's utterly magical. But, getting back to subject, I'm honestly talking about some of the books that I like. And the Alex Rider series is one of those. It's about a teen British spy. And he does a lot of really crazy things. Just because he has to. He's brought into the fold when his uncle, who is a spy, dies, and his employer decided that he can do it. So it gets really interesting from there, and it's a good series. It's about 6 or 7 books long, but it ends on a pretty good note as far as I can tell. Then there's a lot of standalone books, kind of standalone books. Things by John Green or David Levithan or Rachel Cohn. They're great writers, and I enjoy their work. The Rachel Cohn and David Levithan books specifically are really well written, especially when they're written between two different people. It's one of the reasons why I really like Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan, because it's written by two people, but it's written in such a good way, and it's written in such an interesting way that it shows how the different writing styles work out together. And that's one of the big things about the Rachel Cohn and David Levithan books. It's one of the big things about those books because because in those 3 books, with Michael Cera and Kat Dennings, Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List, and Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, you have David Levithan writing the story from the boy's point of view, and Rachel Cohn writing the story from the girl's point of view. And all three of the groups are completely different characters. There's some similarities between some of them, but there's differences that require a different hand every time you have to read something different. So that's why I like seeing writers be able to do that sort of thing and change up what they're writing, because they're writing a different character completely. And that's one of the things about it. It's really cool. So, like, it's one thing to really love a writer for what they write. It's another to really love them for how they do it. It's one of the reasons why I like things like John Green or Nivizzini, because they write about things that either they themselves experienced in some way, or they write about a location that they used to live at, or something, and it's just being able to take those little pieces of your life and put them out on a page for people to read about. It's just magic. It's change. It does something interesting, and that's what's cool. It's just, you get to see something different and new about these people, and that's what I love about those books. And then there's like books that have puzzles in them, like Endgame, for example, which also has a really big contest around it. If you haven't heard about that, I will link some posts. I will link some of the links to it in the description. Oh dear God. Holy crap. There's a lot of stuff going on with this book. It's just, whether it be an ARG or a contest to try and locate a key that will get you $500,000. But that's for book 1, and there's 3 of them. Let's just go with that. Then there's things like House of Leaves, which is a story within a story within a story within a story. So of course, it's not going to make sense, but that's okay. It's one of the cool, it's like different formats, different ways of giving story. It just allows a lot of different ways of perceiving that story, a lot of different versions of that story. And that's one of the cool things about books. It's one of the cool things about narrative work in general. And I'll probably come back to the idea of narrative work most likely within the next couple weeks, but if I'm going to leave you with anything this week, it's that narrative work is fantastic, and that you should definitely go read a book and just imagine everything that's going on. You'd be surprised what you can come up with. So thank you again, and I will see